Welcome back to the Explainer, everyone. Today, we're cracking open a truly fascinating ancient text. And, this reads less like a dry historical document and way more like a mind-bending philosophical showdown. We're going to look at a story that completely challenges everything we think we know about age, authority, and honestly, even the physical world around us. Just picture this scenario for a second. Imagine an 8-year-old girl standing before a massive assembly of the most enlightened, revered masters in ancient history, and she completely outsmarts them. Not with magic, but with pure, unadulterated logic and this incredibly profound understanding. So how on earth did she pull this off? Well, let's dive in and find out. Here's our agenda for today. First, the 8-year-old prodigy. Second, 40 rules to change destiny. Third, doubts from the masters. Fourth, breaking gender and saint myths. And finally, the digital legacy of wisdom. All right, Section 1, the 8-year-old prodigy. Enter Sumati. Now, everything we're exploring today comes directly from the Sumati Sutra. This isn't just some local legend or a fairy tale. It's a meticulously preserved piece of the Chinese electronic Tripiṭaka collection, actually translated way back in the Tang Dynasty by Bodhiruci. So this grounds our entire explainer in a very real, historical, literary tradition. The text sets this majestic, almost intimidating scene at Vulture Peak in ancient India. The Buddha is there, and he's surrounded by this massive crowd. We're talking 1,250 monks and 10,000 bodhisattvas. And right into the middle of this incredibly serious assembly walks an 8-year-old girl named Sumati. She's the daughter of a wealthy man, but instead of, playing like a normal kid, she approaches the Buddha, kneels down, and boldly starts asking the absolute most profound questions imaginable about life, reality, and human destiny. Moving on to Section 2, 40 Rules to Change Destiny, the Blueprint. So, Sumati basically asks the Buddha for the cheat codes to a good life. She asks how to get a beautiful form, great wealth, and how to actually have people trust her words. And the Buddha responds with this highly practical blueprint. He gives her 10 desired outcomes, and for every single one, he provides 4 specific practices. So that's 40 rules total. And what's really striking about these rules is just how actionable they are. Take the formula for great wealth, for example. It's not about luck at all. It's about giving in a timely manner, lacking arrogance, giving happily, and, this is key, expecting absolutely no reward. Or look at trusted words. How do you actually get people to believe you? Well, your actions have to match your words, you keep no secrets from friends, you don't actively seek out flaws in others, and you harbor no hate. It is an incredibly clear, practical, ethical blueprint. But, as you might expect, the establishment pushes back. Section 3, Doubts from the Masters. The skeptics emerge. Sumati confidently declares that she's going to follow all 40 of these rules perfectly. She even vows that if she fails at even one, she's actively deceiving the Buddha. Enter Venerable Mahāyāna. He's one of the senior established male disciples. And he essentially tells her, look, kid, the bodhisattva path is extremely difficult. How can you possibly be so confident? He is highly, highly skeptical that an 8-year-old has the discipline to fulfill these grand vows. But Sumati, she doesn't flinch. She basically fires back, if my vows are true, let the whole universe shake, and let everyone here turn golden. And according to the text, the earth immediately shakes in 6 different ways, and the entire assembly turns this radiant gold. So yeah, the heavyweights are officially on notice. Which brings us to Section 4, Breaking Gender and Saint Myths, the Ultimate Debate. Seeing Rājagṛha get completely bested, the great scholar Manjusri steps up to the plate. Now, Manjusri is famous for his supreme wisdom, and he starts firing these complex, layered philosophical questions at this 8-year-old just to test her depth. Manjusri asks, what is Buddhi? Meaning, what is ultimate enlightenment? And Sumati answers with just 2 words, non-discrimination. It brilliantly illustrates her minimalist genius. She just cuts right through all the heavy theology of the masters and points straight to the core. Enlightenment is simply the absence of separating things into this and that. Manjusri tries another angle. He asks, what is a bodhisattva, an enlightened being? And Sumati answers, the form of empty space. I mean, really think about that. These monks have spent their entire lives trying to become bodhisattvas, treating it as this ultimate high status. And Sumati radically deconstructs that whole spiritual hierarchy. She tells them that the ultimate spiritual being is exactly like empty space, uncontainable, formless, and completely egoless. Then, Manjusri sets what he thinks is the ultimate trap. Remember, in ancient times, it was a super common belief that you had to be a man to achieve the highest levels of enlightenment. So, Manjusri asks her point blank, if you're so enlightened, why don't you change your female body?
And Sumati delivers the absolute, timeless mic drop. She says, "The form of a woman is an illusion. What is there to change?" The crucial point here is that she isn't just defending her gender. She is completely dismantling the very concept of physical form itself. She's pointing out that getting attached to whether a body is male or female is totally missing the point of ultimate reality, which is formless.
But she knows they need visual proof, so she makes another grand vow. She says, if what I say is true, and I am to become a Buddha, I will transform into a 30-year-old monk right now. And boom, the earth shakes again, the assembly shines golden, and she instantly transforms into a 30-year-old monk. Now, she doesn't do this to prove that being male is somehow better. She does it to decisively prove her point to Manjusri, that physical form is entirely arbitrary and illusory. She has complete mastery over it. After this, Manjusri actually stands up, bows to her, and admits he had studied under her in a past life. The 8-year-old wins the debate.
And finally, Section 5. Digital Legacy of Wisdom, Preserving the Truth. Because you have to wonder, how do we even know about this incredible debate today?
Well, this 1,000-year-old underdog story survives because of the Comprehensive Buddhist Electronic Text Archive, or the CBTA Foundation. They've spent years meticulously digitizing these invaluable ancient texts, cross-referencing translations, and even adding modern punctuation so that this profound wisdom isn't just lost to time or decay. It's a brilliant bridge between millennia, really. On one side, you have these ancient debates from Vulture Peak, and on the other, modern access codes, like this QR code, that literally let you pull up the Sumati Sutra on your smartphone right now. It's so important to remember that these massive nonprofit digital archiving efforts rely entirely on public support. The source text actually includes a beautiful quote about this exact concept. Drops of water, though small, gradually fill a large vessel. Every single bit of support helps keep this history alive and accessible for the modern world. Which leaves us with a final, really profound thought to take away. If an 8-year-old girl from millennia ago could so clearly see past the deeply entrenched illusions of gender, age, and spiritual status, what illusions are we holding on to today? What boxes are we putting ourselves and others into that are actually just empty space? Take some time to really think about that. And I highly encourage you to go explore the text for yourself. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.